सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Second chapter, verse 11. Shri Bhagavanuvāca Ashocyananvashocastvam Prajñāvādāṃsca bhāṣase Gatāsu nigatāsumsca Mānishochanti panditaha Natvevāham jātu nāsam Natvannene janādhipāha Nachaiva na bhavishyāmaha Sarve vayamatah param. Lord Krishna opens this discourse with this verse, Ashocyan and Vashocastvam. Arjuna is grieving, as Sanjaya described, Tam tatha krupaya vishtam Ashrupurna Kulekshvam Vishidantam. The first verse of the second chapter, Sanjaya describes how Vishidantam, Arjuna is grieving with almost tears in his eyes. To this Arjuna, Lord Krishna is saying, one who is deeply grieving. To him, Lord Krishna says, Ashochan anasocastvam. Here, Arjuna, you expressed the reason for your grief in saying, how can I shoot Bhishma and Drona with arrows? I should be worshipping them with flowers. So instead of worshipping them with flowers, how can I shoot arrows at them? How can I kill them? Meaning that the death of Bhishma, and so Arjuna specifically mentioned these two names. Katham Bhishmaham Sankhe Dronancha Madhusudana. Hey Madhusudana, Bhishma and Drona in particularly identifies, how can I kill them? Earlier he said, Swajanam hi katham hatva sukhina syama madhava. He Madhava, O Lord Krishna, katham sukhina syama, how can we be happy? Swajanam hatva, killing our near and dear ones, killing our kinsmen, how can we be happy? So it is the death of his kinsmen, in particular death of Bhishma and Drona. The possibility of this death is the cause of grief of Arjuna. Shoka and moha, grief and delusion. And this is what Lord Krishna addresses. Ashochan, the Bhishma and Drona, and then everybody else also, they do not deserve to be grieved for. As it is, Bhishma and Drona, both of them have lived a very virtuous life, and therefore they have lived full life, therefore also that their death does not deserve to be grieved for. But more than that, if you inquire into what exactly is the nature of Bhishma and Drona, then also there is no reason for the grief for them. Then Bhishma and Drona, not the body that you see are Bhishma and Drona. It is the self. That is the possessor of the body. That is the indweller of the body. So that's how Lord Krishna points out how two entities are involved here when normally we take them to be one. So when we use the pronoun I, we include both the self-consciousness as well as the body, mind, sense complex. All of this is included in the notion of I. Lord Krishna says, no, that I in fact consists of two entities, the I and non-I. Meaning that in your notion of I or the self, non-I or non-self also is included. Therefore, what is necessary is to do viveka or separate the two. It is necessary to separate the I from the non-I, the self from the non-self. So what is the cause of grief? Is not separating these two. Whether it is two, we see them as one. Just as in case of an iron ball, which is heated in the furnace, it becomes red hot iron ball. That is called fireball, which is the union of two entities, iron and fire. But if you just casually look at it, it looks like one entity, fireball. In that fireball, in fact, two entities are involved, iron and fire. that iron and fire are so intimately identified with each other that iron seems to assume the qualities of fire and fire seems to assume qualities of iron, and then we can't distinguish the two. Similarly, self and non-self are so intimately identified. Just as fire pervades every grain of iron, so also the self with the consciousness pervades every cell of this body, mind, sense complex. Therefore, just as we cannot say that iron is here and fire is there, because wherever iron is, there the fire is. So we cannot say that body is here and consciousness is there, because wherever the body is, the consciousness is. And that iron appears to be red and hot, which are not its inherent properties. The red color and the heat are the properties of fire. But on account of that identification, the iron seems to acquire the properties of fire. Similarly also, the body seems to acquire the properties of consciousness. So body shows it's a sentient entity, it is a live entity, the body displays sentiency or life. And we take for granted that life is the essential property of the body, which is not the case. Just as the red color and heat are not the essential properties of iron, so also the sentiency or the quality of being alive is not the inherent property of the body. The body, the life that we see in the body is due to the consciousness. The consciousness of the I seems to be limited to this body, meaning consciousness seems to possess a form and body seems to possess consciousness. But that consciousness seems to possess form is only because of identification of the body, just as the fire seems to be round. The fire by its own nature is formless. But in association with iron, the fire appears to be round. Round, even though fire, even when it appears round, it is not round. Similarly also, even when consciousness appears to be confined to this body, or consciousness seems to not exceed the body and then it's of the shape of the body, so we feel that is not true about consciousness, that the form belongs to the body, consciousness is formless, but in association with the body which has form, the consciousness appears to have form. And similarly, the body by its own nature is inert, because it is a product of five elements which are insentient. So body by its own nature insentient. But because of the association consciousness, the body appears to be sentient. Now this is what causes confusion in us. So confusion is like this, that because the body is thought to be conscious, therefore we habitually take the body to be the self. Because self is conscious, so body is conscious, I am the body. Not only that, but secondly, because the consciousness appears to be confined to the body, I am also confined to the body. I am as good or as small as the body. So these are the kind of notions we entertain. And these notions are the cause of our grief. It is not the realities of life that are the cause of grief. We are not grieving. The grief or the sadness in our life does not arise because of the realities of life, because of what the self is, what the non-self is. What they are do not cause the grief. But the way we take them, the way we perceive them, notion that we have about the self and non-self, these notions are causing grief. So this is the way we take them, the way we perceive them. That's why Lord Krishna is a notion that we have about the body deserves to be grieved for. Are causing grief. Lord Atma deserves to be grieved for. The way we perceive that's why Lord Krishna is lumping together that we have about the body deserves to be grieved for. Where the body and the self or Atma consciousness are lumped together and thought to be one, where there are two. Just as iron and fire are two and taken to be one. So self and non-self are two, but taken to be one. It is that notion which is the cause of sadness. It's a very fantastic thing that Vedanta reveals. Ashochan and Ashocastvam. Arjuna, if you knew the nature of the self and non-self, then you will find that neither the self deserves to be grieved for, nor does the non-self deserve to be grieved for. Both Lord Krishna will talk about. First, why does not the self deserve to be grieved for? How come self, Atma, consciousness, you should not grieve for it? So the second verse told us. So that is what Shankaracharya said. Kutaste ashocyaha. Arjuna would ask, Oh Lord, why do you say that Bhishma and Drona, they do not deserve to be grieved for, meaning that I should not grieve for Bhishma and Drona? Why? Ashocyaha. So Lord Krishna wants to establish that everything is Ashot. There is nothing in the universe that deserves to be grieved for. What Lord Krishna means to say is that there is nothing in the universe that deserves to be grieved for, meaning that if you understood the nature of what is, then there will be no cause of grief. So Vedanta's solution for the problem of grief is simply understanding things as they are. That's enough. It is the wrong understanding or wrong perception of things that causes grief. The right perception will remove that grief. This is the solution here. So when Lord Krishna made this statement, Ashochaha, that they should not be grieved for, Kutaha. On what basis do you say, O Lord, that Bhishma, Drona and others should not be grieved for? Nityatvat. So Atma also does not deserve to be grieved for, nor Anatma. First, Lord Krishna says that Atma, the consciousness, does not deserve to be grieved for. Meaning that if you knew the self as it is, you will find that there is no reason to grieve for the self. Kuta asocyaha. Why do they do not deserve to be grieved for? Nityatvat, because Bhishma and Drona and everybody, you and I, all of us are nitya or eternal. An eternal thing does not deserve to be grieved for because the cause of Arjuna's grief is death. It is the imminent death of Bhishma and Drona and all their kinsmen. That is the reason for Arjuna's grief or anybody's grief. Arjuna represents us and we always grieve for death of our near and dear ones. We always do. And I think we'll continue to even after listening to them, I'm afraid. Because we have to become as objective as Lord Krishna expects us to be in these verses, then the grief will not be. So even after listening to this discourse, and we have listened to it a million times already, it's not the first time. And we'll continue to listen. We have to also. Meaning that we have to keep on hammering the nature of the realities in our mind because it has become a deep-rooted habit to have the wrong perception about them, and therefore the idea of right perception is hammered again and again. So it becomes clear when we are listening. It's just clear, yes. As soon as we put on our shoes, then all samsara comes back. So when we are sitting here, all our notions, they go and stick to our shoes. When we put them on, they all come back, looks like. This is how it is. We get back into the old rut again. Ashwatthamenam suviruhamulam. Lord Krishna says in the 15th chapter that the tree of samsara has root very deep and firm. Asanga shastrena duhrena shatva has to be cut asunder by the weapon of asangata or detachment. So over and above this shravanam, we also have to cultivate detachment. The combination of the two will be able to really bless us. This understanding is a great blessing. Whenever we have a right mind, we can become objective. But then often we become overwhelmed by the situation because of our habit, because of our attachments and aversions. We become influenced, overwhelmed, and get back into the old rut. Like parents are always afraid of, their children going to school and going out, and with Swamiji, and they come in, the company they have, the friends that they have, in spite of our having taught them so much and raised them in this manner, but still, those fellows influence them more than we have influenced them. So this is like parents influencing the intellect here. When we go out, it's that bad company that is influencing us, our old samskaras. Why I am saying this? So that nobody should feel bad. Swamiji, when it comes, don't worry. It's understandable that when the time comes, this knowledge seems to not help us. It's understandable. That is why they talk of nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam, meditating upon what you have understood. There is one kind of meditation where we meditate upon a devata or mantra or someone other than ourselves. This meditation involves some kind of imagination. This is the meditation on realities, as our Swami would like to call it. So meditation on realities can be called nididhyasanam. It's also meditation, but seeing the realities as they are. That's what Lord Krishna is teaching here. The reality about the self and the reality about the non-self. So it is important that we take our time to distance ourselves from all those daily demands and engagements and attachments and carve out the time for ourselves. An appointment with ourselves, with the self. When we can take a verse like this and recollect what we have learned in the class and see that in our mind. To create samskara. We have the samskara or the impressions or what we call the habitual patterns for old thinking and old behavior. Therefore, the habitual patterns in the mind are deeply carved. We have to create new patterns. Thus bringing this teaching again in our mind, when we are free from other influences. See, when we come into the world, then our buttons are pushed and poor thing. This thing doesn't have much scope there. When standing in a line for food, etc., and somebody pushes me and immediately some button is pushed, this goes away. So we need a time when nobody is pushing buttons. So that you may call the time for meditation, when you are not interacting with anybody. Nobody to push buttons. You have the leisure to contemplate in our mind. then this can be used. Ashochaha. How come they are ashochaha? How come they do not deserve the guilt for nityatvat? Because they are. Who is eternal? Bhishma is eternal, Drona is eternal, everybody is eternal. And therefore, in this 12th verse, Lord Krishna said, Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadhipaha. Natu eva aham jatu na asam. If you look at the translation, there was never a time when I did not exist. Natu eva jatam. Na jatam means never. Aham na asam. There never was a time when I was not. We discussed this in the last class, where Lord Krishna uses two negatives. There never was a time when I was not. You follow? What it amounts to saying is that I always was. But if instead of saying I always was, why does Lord Krishna say there never was a time when I was not? This is a technical point involved here. Last time we gave the example of a pot. That pot is created from clay. Before the creation of pot, the pot did not exist, right? So that is called the state of non-existence of the pot before creation. Since it is the state of non-existence before creation, so we say before creation means what? The prior. So it's called prior non-existence of the pot. Prior non-existence of the pot. Meaning a state when the pot did not exist before its creation, did not exist. Similarly, pot will not exist after its destruction. There is also non-existence. So these two non-existences are distinguished from each other. That the non-existence characterized by the state when the pot was not born is called prior non-existence, and non-existence characterized by the state when the pot was destroyed is called posterior non-existence. Why are these words used? Why are these terms used? Because what is creation? Creation is destruction of prior non-existence. Just think about it. Creation is the destruction of prior non-existence. Does it make sense? What comes into existence? Meaning its non-existence is gone, isn't it? When part's non-existence comes to an end, that is when the part comes into existence. The child did not exist before its birth. So when do you say child is born? When the non-existence of a child comes to an end, then we say child is born. Meaning that before this moment, child did not exist. At least did not exist. It was not manifest, put it this way. It was there in the womb of the mother, but as manifest in the world, for all medical science, child did not exist. So you call it birth. And what is death? The person was here so far, now he ceases to exist. So existence has come to an end. And that is called the death. The person was here so existence begins. It's called the birth. Existence comes to the end, that is called death. So existence begins means what? Non-existence ends. You follow? Part's existence begins. It's called the birth. Meaning that the prior non-existence of part has come to the end, that is called then death. The existence of part begins. That's called birth. So existence begins means what? Non-existence ends. Of the part ends. When part's existence non-existence begins. Meaning that the prior non-existence of part has come to an end of the prior non-existence. The existence of birth begins. That's called birth. And beginning of posterior non-existence is death. I mean, if you You need not much worry about
the
it.
posterior non-existence understand it, and so pragabhava,
that's called the death.
pradvamsabhava. So end of the prior non-existence is birth, and beginning of posterior non-existence is death.
Time
I mean, if you need not much worry about it, but those who can
there never
understand
was my
and so
prior
pragabhava-
non-existence. I was not is prior non-existent. But never was I not. I was not, meaning that I never suffered from prior non-existence. I was not.
if prior non-existence is not there, then it cannot come to an end.
Was I not. I was not.
In that language,
and
Lord
if
Krishna,
end of prior non-existence is birth, then there cannot be birth for the one who did not have prior non-existence.
then it cannot come to an end. You know, anyway, if you did not understand, the thing is, Lord Krishna says, I always was me, I was never born. Otherwise, he could not always be. But in technical terms, Lord Krishna says, I never had prior non-existence. End of prior non-existence was not there, there cannot be end of prior non-existence. If end of prior non-existence is birth, then in essence Lord Krishna says, I never had always was me, I was never born. Instead of saying in such a simple manner, he says all this way. But in technical terms, use the language of Naiyayikas, but there are fellows addressing many people. See, his statements will be analyzed, and so there are the schools of logicians who explain birth and death this way. Natvivaham jatunasam. Here, Arjuna, there never was a time when I was not, meaning that I always was. Meaning that I was never born. As we said, Lord Krishna says this on the face of the fact that he was born. Everybody celebrates Janmashtami, birth of Lord Krishna every year. Those days also they may have been celebrating. So even though Lord Krishna himself may be celebrating his birth date, and still Lord Krishna says that I was never born. Meaning that something was born and something was not born. Because we see the birth happening all the time. And my parents say I was also born, I have to accept it. It seems that something is born and still something is not born. So this is where the Viveka, the separation of Atma and Anatma comes. Since we lump both of them together, therefore the birth of the body is equated to the birth of the self. Because we do not separate the two. Here Lord Krishna wants us to understand that these are two different entities and that the birth of the body is not the birth of the self. So what was born as Lord Krishna was the body that is called Lord Krishna, but not the self or the consciousness that Lord Krishna is. So Arjuna may say, Lord, you are a special, you are Lord. So I can understand that you are not. But what about me? Natvam, Lord Krishna, even there was never a time when you were not. Arjuna, you also were not born. Arjuna says, yeah, okay. I'm something. So I can what about these idiots? So Natvam, Neme, Jana, all of these fellows, Neme, Janadipaha. All these people also, there was a time when all these people were not. Understand that Lord Krishna and Arjuna, all these Tom, Dick, all of them same category. You follow? There's something where all these are equal. Can you believe that? Lord Krishna, whoever he was, the Lord of the whole universe, Arjuna, a very mighty warrior, and other warriors around, all of them are in the same class as far as the fact that none of them was born. Meaning that there is something in all of them that is not born. There is something in them that is born, but there is something in them that is not born. What is that? The self, the consciousness. All right, Lord, Maybe they are not born, but they are not going to be around by the time I am done with them. Nobody will be around. He says, no, no. Nachaiva na bhavishyamah sarve vayam atah param. Atah param, after the death, na bhavishyamah iti na. Again two nakaras. Nachaiva na bhavishyamah. Atah param, not dead we will not be. After death of this body also, it is not that we will not be, meaning that all of us will be even after the death of the body. So here Arjuna, so Lord Krishna puts himself first. That's, I think, English people may not like it, because you always put yourself at the end. Put other people in the beginning, My wife and I went. Here it's I and my. India says I and my wife went. But here it's my wife and I went. It's the Indian style. I was never born, you were never born, others were never born. No, because Lord Krishna is when he says I, he knows what that I is. And therefore he puts himself first there. Then as far as rest is concerned, it will not be that all of us will not be, we will always be, meaning there will be no posterior non-existence for us. If there is no posterior non-existence, that means that there is no beginning of posterior non-existence, meaning there is no death. Or that there will never be a time when we will not be, meaning there is no death for us. So Lord Krishna is that way enlightening Arjuna about the fact that what we call I is a complex entity, which is union of two entities, self and non-self. We take them to be one, and therefore what all is happening to non-self is automatically taken to be happening to the self. At the level of body, there is birth. Nobody will deny that. But Lord Krishna says, birth of the body is not the birth of the self. Similarly, there will be death. As Lord Krishna will say, Jatasya dhruva mrityuhu. Death is certain for that which is born, meaning that this body will die. Whoever's body it is, even Lord Krishna also has to depart someday. But that is not the death of the self. So you decide who you are grieving for the body or for the self. So first Lord Krishna says that self does not deserve to be grieved for because it is eternal. So Nityatvam, that Atma is eternal, is presented here as a reason why Atma does not deserve to be grieved for, because you are grieving for death. And Atma has no death. Atma has no birth. Therefore, Atma or the consciousness or the self or the I does not deserve to be grieved for if you understand the true nature of I. Vayam atah param, it will not be that we will not be. Here Lord Krishna uses plural, Vayam is we. We means all of us. That is plural. When Lord Krishna uses plural, we means for I and we. Or aham, then what? Avam, vayam. Looks like there are many Atmas. Lord Krishna uses plural. As the Lord Krishna is one Atma, Arjuna another Atma, these fellows other Atmas, is that what? So when you use plural, does Lord Krishna mean there are many Atmas? Says no. Deha bheda anuvritya. It is because the bodies are many, from that standpoint Lord Krishna uses the plural, but plural does not apply to I. It's very interesting, I, just I. That I doesn't have any gender. Man also says I, Krishna uses the woman also says I. Doesn't have age. The child, the youth and the old, everybody says I. Even mosquitoes also, we don't know the language. He also would say I. Is it not so? I does not have age, gender, species, nothing. Meaning it is ever free from all attributes. Is it not so? The pronoun I is used by everybody. Means it is free from all attributes. It is nirvishesha. It has no attributes. It has no qualities. And therefore it has no boundaries. It is no limitation. Therefore, the I cannot be many. But Swami, you are you and we are I. How can you say I is not many? If you understand what I means, as Lord Krishna said, the I or the self is eternal, has no birth, has no death. Meaning that it is not limited by time. Is it not so? What is meant by limited by time is that it did not exist before a certain time, it will not exist after a certain time. That is called limitation in time. When Lord Krishna says, I always existed and will always continue to exist, meaning that the I is not limited by time. It is there all the time. Which also means that it is not limited by space, because limitation of time and space, both of them go together. When something is limited in space, like this body, then it's subject to being interacted by other things that are outside the body, and that interaction will wear out this body someday or the other. When I is all pervasive, there is nothing that will act upon the I, there is nothing that bring about its change or destruction. Therefore, limitation of time or freedom from limitation of time also amounts to saying that Atma is free from limitation of space. And when you say that, human being also says I. Animals also use the same I. And plants and trees also may use the same I, meaning that I does not have limitation with reference to vastu or objects. So I is free from limitation of time, space, and objects or attributes. So my I that I am is free from limitation of time, space, and attribute. Meaning that I that you are is free from limitation of time, space, and attribute. Therefore, to say that my I is different and your I is different, when can we say? When they can be distinguished. There is no distinguishing feature. It is a limitation or the quality or attribute that distinguishes one thing from the other. Like this object is part. Why? Because it possesses partness. And what is this? A flower. Why? Because it possesses flowerness. And what is this? Grapes, because they possess grapeness. When something possesses ness, then oneness distinguishes it from otherness. Grapeness distinguishes this entity from this because it has partness, which this doesn't have, and flowerness, which they do not have. But I does not have a ness, no attributes, no qualities, no properties, from otherness, no limitation. Therefore, I cannot be many. Eko devaha sarva bhuteshu gudaha. Upanishad says, one self-effulgent consciousness is hidden or is abiding in all the beings. So, I is one. Appears as many bodies are there, as many it appears. Just as electricity is one, but appears as many, depending on how many bulbs are there. Somebody may think that electricity is many, depending upon the bulbs, because they shine differently. Similarly, is one I or one consciousness that manifests through all these body, mind, sense complexes. Next verse, Shankaracharya asks, Tatra katham nitya atma iti. Alright, Lord Krishna, you made a statement. Atma nitya, that the self is eternal. See, the general rule of communication is, when you make a statement, you should support the statement with reasoning or with illustration. We will accept what Lord Krishna says, Atma is eternal, all right. But our intellect always wants some reasoning. It wants some example, some illustration. Therefore, the next verse provides illustration. Kathamiva, like what? Atma nitya. Atma is eternal, like what? Is there some evidence in our day-to-day living for us to understand how Atma is eternal? Eternal also means changeless. Anything that is changing is always perishable. So Atma is eternal, imperishable, that means it must be changeless also. It must be one, consistent and changeless. Do we have some experience? Can you demonstrate the changelessness or eternalness of the Atma based on some experiences? That question is asked, and that is replied in the next verse. Lord Krishna says in the verse 13. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhirastatra na muhyate. Dehinah asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhirah tatra na muhyate. So look at the verse. Dehinah, so I'm just separating the words. Dehinah asmin yatha, yatha just as. Dehe, asmin dehe, in this body. See, these words are interesting. Yatha, just as, asmin dehe, in this body, dehinaha. Which case is that? Shashti. Of which word? Dehin. What does dehin mean? Dehaha asya asti iti dehin. So, dehin means one who possesses deha or body. Sannyasin, one who possesses sannyasa. Brahmacharin, malin, one who possesses mala. So, this in pratyaya is applied in Sanskrit in the sense of possession. Deha plus in becomes dehin. What is dehin? One who possesses deha. You follow? So, dhanin. One who possesses dhanam, sense of possession. See, simply by using the word dehin or the possessor of the deha, possessor of body, you know what Lord Krishna implies here? Like gruhin. Gruha means what? A house. Gruhin means what? One who possesses the house. You know what it means? The possessor is always different from what he possesses. Is it not so? So if you possess a house, hopefully and rightfully you are different from the house. Thank God. So when the house leaks, we don't leak. House breaks down, we do not break down, because the possessor is always different from what is possessed. I possess this garment, if the garment gets torn off, I do not get torn off. Meaning that the possessor does not get affected by what he possesses. That's the whole idea. The possessor is independent of what he possesses. Meaning that the changes taking place in what is possessed do not affect the possessor. Lord Krishna later on will give another example of a man or a person wearing a garment. Vasamsi jiranani yatha vihaya. Just as a person discards worn out garment, navani grunadi anyaya deha, and picks up the new garment. Just as a person discards a worn out garment and takes up another new garment, there the garment gets worn out, the one who wears does not get worn out, right? And garment is new. The one who takes up new garment is not new. So one who discards the worn out garment is not worn out, and the one who picks up the new garment is not new. Otherwise every day we'll have new sun, or every day a new cloth, new garment means what? A person doesn't change. So this is to illustrate how the possessor is independent of what is possessed. And changes taking place in what is possessed do not in any way affect the possessor. Meaning that changes taking place in the house do not in any way affect the owner of the house. Simple. So Lord Krishna uses the word Dehi or Dehin, means the possessor of the body. Simply by use of that word, Lord Krishna has separated to the possessor and possessed. If there is a possessor of the body, that means that body is one entity and one who possesses the body is another entity. Is it not so? Although you can't call him possessor. I'm the possessor of this book. I'm not the book. Is the possessor of the body or indweller of the body, another way. Just as indweller of the house is not the house, different from the house. So Dehi, Lord Krishna says, just as a Dehi, the possessor of the body. So this is how you can meditate. Who am I? I am a Dehi. I am a Gruhi. Who is Gruhi? The one who is the possessor of the house, indweller of the house. Means that I am not the house. Here also, I am Dehi, means possessor of the body, indweller of the body. Which means what? I am not the body. Simple, is it not so? How can you say you are not the body? Because I am aware of the body. See, the aware is always different from what he is aware of. Just as I am the knower of this part, the knower is different from the object of knowledge. When I say I cognize this part, I am the cognizer, the knower, definitely different from the part which is the object of my knowledge. That is also good. If there are two, then if the part breaks, then I also will break. No? If the tree falls down, I don't fall down because I am the witness of the tree. The witness is different from what is witnessed. Similarly, who am I? I am aware of the body. Our Swami used to say. In fact, I am intimately aware of this body. Much more than I am aware of you. Because I know the pain in every little muscle there and whatever. I am very intimately aware. There is no question that I am aware of the body. Swami, the camp is going on the lower back pain. So many people seem to lower back pain. I never realized, People are walking about normally, why are you attending this? So I have a lower back pain. I never say, Swami, I have that. Anyway, how do I know I have a lower back pain? I am the aware of the back pain. Is it not? I am not the pain. I am aware of the pain. I am also aware the pain is in the lower back. I'm different from lower back. Is it not so? Simple rule is that knower is always different from the object of knowledge. And second thing is that the changes taking place in the known do not in any way affect the knower. That's another thing. The knower is unaffected by the attributes of the known, or knower is unaffected by the changes in the known. So just as I am the witness of the tree, unaffected by treeness, if tree falls down, again I am unaffected by changes taking place in the tree. Very important. Similarly, Lord Krishna says, Dehi. What's the nature of Atma? Atma is called Dehi, the possessor of the body, indweller of the body. Thereby saying that the Dehi, the Atma, the self, is different from the body. And that is very clear to us. How? It shows here. Dehi yatha, just as kaumaram, yauvanam, jara. So during our lifespan, we pass through a variety of states. Kaumaram, this is the time when we were a child. Yauvanam, a time when I was youthful. Some of you are lucky enough to be youthful now also, but I can say, there was a time when I was young. Jara means what? Decrepit, old age. I'm old. But one important thing is that the one right now who sees himself as an old person, same person was the youthful person. Is it not so? We remember what all we did when we were young. All we may want to forget is a different thing, but we remember. And all kinds of stuff Swami had to go through as child, all kinds of pain, good, bad. So I remember what I was and what I experienced as a child. In fact, even when people have this problem with the short-term memory, these all they remember. All the old days they remember. And so the grandfather is talking to his grandson about his own marriage. In our times, the wedding used to be so 7 days, 1 week long, and how the wedding procession would come. And he describes to that little grandchild, he may not understand, but that's what the grandfather describes to him. You know what it means? It means that the one who is right now talking to the grandson is the same one who himself was a child. Is it not so? See, when I think of I don't think that I was a different person or different I when I was a child. Same I was there. And same I was young. And same I was middle-aged. And same I is old. Is it not so? When we see our pictures, when I see my pictures, 25 years ago when we came to Gurukulam, some pictures may be there. And then 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last year, distinct changes. Because you see the Swami away, you think there's the same fellow. It's not the same. Far from same. When we see our own photograph, then we realize what all changes have taken place. But then it's the same I. One thing has not changed. What has not changed? The I has not changed. If I change, then I cannot recollect what I experienced in the past. For me to recollect the past experience, it is necessary that I should have gone through that experience. Then only I can recollect. I cannot recollect your experience. Meaning that I cannot recollect or remember what someone else went through. Ya smritihi sa anubhava purvika. One rule is that the memory presupposes an experience. Meaning that I can remember something that I have experienced, not somebody else. So if I remember all those experiences in childhood, that means I who is talking right now is the one who was going through those experiences in childhood. Is it not so? Not someone different. Oh, no, I think I'm a different person. No. Born again is different. That's a different kind of a term. But then still, same person. See here. So, Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara. There's something that in I that undergoes changes, such as the childhood, youth, old age. And something in I that does not undergo change, the one who remembers as a witness of all of this. I remember that I was a witness of my childhood experiences, a witness of my youthful experiences, witness of the old age experiences. And that the one who experienced childhood, the same I, in I there is no change at all. No, Swami, that time I was a small I. Then I was a strong I. I'm a weak I. No, the smallness, strength, weakness do not belong to I, they all belong to the body. Is it not so? The I was not small when the body was small. The I was not strong when the body was strong. The I is not weak when the body is weak because I is independent. Even in my understanding of I never think of I independently as small, big, etc. I is I. Same I-ness is there. So this is a very important illustration Lord Krishna gives. Yatha, just as. So changes are constantly taking place in the body. As Shankaracharya explains here, that we have experienced that the childhood died and the youth was born. Is it not so? We cannot be simultaneously both child and youth. Can we be? That would be nice. Right now our wish, many people wish that, I was back to my childhood. That time I always wanted to do long, big shoes and walks in the house. Why? Child always wants to become big. Doesn't know what it means to become big. Later on he will regret it, but right now he wants to become big. When you become big, then we wish, I wish I was a child again. But all of this, there is one clarity, that something changes and something does not change. It is our experience that the I who passes through the different states, that I does not change, something changes. It is the body that undergoes changes. That also we know. Nowadays we have photographs. How I looked as a child. Somebody showed me pictures of me, Some family picture when I was small. Difficult to recognize, I require some kind of an expert to recognize, this is you, Swamiji, but I can't recognize. But then, that's the little one. Maybe little one's 3, 4 years old. And then little later, and then little later. So changes constantly taking place in the body. The child died. The youth was born. The youth died. Middle age was born. Middle age died. The old is born. Is it not so? Because they cannot exist simultaneously. They are mutually exclusive. Where one is there, other is not there. You know what it means? It means that the birth and death are constantly taking place in the body. But then there is someone who is not born, nor does he die. Meaning that when the childhood died, I did not die. The youth was born, the I was not born. The youth died, I did not die. The old was born, I was not born. So in this birth and death which are constantly taking place in the body, the I, who is a witness of all these different states, I know very much that it was the same I. If I also died, suppose, if I was different as a child, and the I was different as a youth, then the child dies and I also dies, and the I youth is born. In that case, the youth, young I cannot remember anything of the child I because it's a different person. For us to remember in the past, It is I who must have gone through the experience of the past. As I said, I cannot remember something that somebody else went through. Otherwise, it will be dangerous. This is all no privacy. Then that's the Lord Krishna, Ishvara has maintained privacy. These days there is no privacy, but Bhagavan has made privacy. You are your privacy. Your experiences are your own, your memories are your own, and everything is your own. I have no access to that. And similarly, all my stuff is mine, you have no access. Thank God. Otherwise I can't sit here. If you knew exactly what is all that stuff inside, you will know more. There is no more I want to bow down at all. Say, oh, this is what he is. But it's all private. So no access to that. And you just see what I show you, that's all. Anyway, so that's it. The thing is, what I'm saying
You
is
know
that
more,
the
no
rule
more
is
I
that
want to.
the memory presupposes experience. The fact that I remember the experience of childhood means that same I existed as a child. And I remember the experience of youth means the same I existed as youth. And same I exist now. So Arjuna understands that the Dehi, the possessor of the body, the indweller of the body, the witness of the body is independent of all the changes taking place in the body. So in what we call I, that I is a complex entity, which is the union of two entities, one that undergoes changes, the other one that does not undergo change. Right? What undergoes changes? The body. Here body means body, mind, sense complex. Everything is included. It's all changes. But the witness does not change. My mind also changes. Balyadishvavi, jagradadishu tatha, sarvasvasthasvavi, vyavrittasvan vartamanam ityantas furantam sada. Dakshinamurti Sutra describes Balyadishu, the states such as the childhood, youth, old age, Jagradadishu, the waking, dream, deep sleep. Another thing, the one who was dreaming last night is the same one who is right now awake. Is it not so? No, Swamiji, I don't know. The dream was different. A different self was there in dream? No, I hope. Sometimes I wish. The one dreamed is not I, but then you have to own up. Meaning that I remember, even though in the dream there is a different body, you know that? We do not experience dream with this body. During the dream experience, we create a dream body. That's what the Upanishad says. That when the self wants to dream, he makes this body unconscious. Because this fellow cannot have entrance in the dream. Dream is a different realm. To experience the objects of the dream, we must have a compatible body. For example, if you want to go to heaven, we cannot go with this body. We need a body which is compatible to experiencing the objects of the heaven. One stupid king wanted to do this. His name was Nahusha. He wanted to go to heaven with this body. And he requested his guru. Vasishtha did not, nobody accepted this. This is nonsense. Vishwamitra said, I'll do it for you. And then so Vishwamitra, by his powers, performed all kinds of yagas, and Nahusha went up with this body into heaven and occupied the seat beside Indra. Indra said, hey, who are you? He just pushed him out, down. He said, you can't be here. This fellow is falling down with his head, and he's screaming. And then Vishwamitra said, don't worry, I'll create a new heaven for you. So that is called Trishanku. It's neither there nor here. Anyway, so meaning that you cannot be in heaven with this body. Because objects of heaven are of a different class. And for experiencing them, you require a body compatible to experiencing those pleasures. Similarly, dream also is a different state endeavor For experiencing the objects of dream, we require a body compatible to that state, and therefore, for dream, we create a new body. Rest, the body is different. The waker's body is different. The dream body is different. In deep sleep, the causal body is there. But I remember the one who was awake yesterday was the one who was sleeping, same one, dreaming, same one, sleeping, same one, woke up. Is it not so? Although every morning, oh, it's a different one wakes up. A new one wakes up. Then life cannot go on because then we don't know how to relate to each other. If a new person is born, then I am new, you are also new, we don't know, we have to start all over again. Who is husband, who is wife, who is child, nothing, nothing will remain. But that is not so. Sometimes you hope that it's so, but that's not so. Also new, we don't know, we have to. So the continuity of I, in spite of changing body, is a very important thing. That just as in this waking state also, the body undergoes different stages, but the I does not. And in the different states of consciousness, waking, dream, deep sleep, we know that the different bodies are there, but the I is the same. That shows that the I does not change when the body changes, because I is the indweller of the body, possessor of the body, independent of the body. And therefore, the limitations and attributes and change of the body do not in any way affect I or the self. So here Lord Krishna is teaching the Atma Anatma Viveka, discrimination or separation between the self and the non-self. Why did Shoka, why did grief arise? Because of lumping them together, as we all do. Because lumping together the non-self with the self is thought to be born when it is the body that is born. Self is thought to die when it is the body that dies. Lord Krishna says that's not the case. That's what Lord Krishna is teaching here. The Atma Anatma Viveka, or discrimination or separation between Atma and Anatma. We'll continue next class. This is there. Is that open? A minute. 1 second. Make the